looking back at it now, I really do think that at least the first two seasons of Arrow, season three, as it is fucking unsalvageable. You need to totally redo that. But at least seasons one and two of Arrow would benefit from like another draft. You know what I mean? Like treat seasons one and two as though it's just like a rough draft, and then it could have used some more fine tuning, like one more, like another final draft of just polishing up things, dotting your I's, crossing your T's, that sort of thing. Like it's a good basis to work with, but it would have benefited just from a little more, just a little extra work put into it. Um, Another show that I think of that immediately comes to mind where I think that really would have benefited from something like that was Fringe. And without getting into, again, I'm not here to talk about other superheroes or other TV shows, but that show would have really benefited from another draft per se, like another, like treat what we got of Fringe as a rough draft for a really good show. Just one more final draft, one more go at it. Um, I mean, it's just like there's a lot of good ideas in that show. It's just that the way they executed a lot of them didn't work. Like, so just like on like that level, like maybe some of the execution and some of the stuff to make things more coherent and stuff. But you know, this is a J.J. Abrams production here, guys. I mean, because we gotta have our mysteries, right? Because we don't want to explain anything to the audience. Because it's better. What you can imagine in your mind's better than what they can ever show you on screen. Yeah, fuck you, asshole. Okay. You fucking curly-haired, four-eyed, lens-flaring asshole. Yes, I want the mysteries explained to me. And okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. Fucking the show's written. The two showrunners on the fucking show are fucking Orsi and Kurtzman, the guys who wrote um, fucking like Star Trek '09, Star Trek Into Darkness, and fucking Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen. So I mean, really, you got something fucking coherent from them. I mean, but anyway, okay. Enough about Fringe. Okay, I can go on for hours. All right, get ahead of myself. Okay, so yeah, treat that as a rough draft. One more, one more final draft to like iron out the things. So like I think like even when season one started, I know I was talking about like way back when I talked about the flashbacks. I said my piece on the flashbacks, and that's all I'm gonna talk about. Okay, maybe in regards to season three, I've said all I want to say, but here I want to really focus on the flashbacks here. I know it's kind of late in the game to be talking about this, but I just feel this needs to be said here. So, and it's kind of along the lines again of like what I would have done instead, because apparently I'm some sort of fucking like savant or clairvoyant or something. I know what's best for the show, but this is what I think would have worked better. So they even admitted back in season one that they weren't sure exactly what to do with the flashbacks, and you can tell they didn't really have like a long-term plan at first, and they were kind of just making it up as they went along. And I mean, I can kind of give them a pass on this because I mean, there's a lot that goes into making a TV show and developing a TV show and stuff. So some of it, yeah, I guess you kind of gotta cut them some slack in that they're gonna have to kind of make things up as they go along. But you kind of know that if you just watch Oliver in like present day, and that they kind of intentionally did this, where like he'll allude to things, um, but he won't really elaborate on it. Allude to things in the flashbacks, but just kind of not really explain it too much because he doesn't want to ruin it for the audience. Because we're eventually going to see it in the flashbacks. Um, I mean, just as an example, in season 1, they he's fucking trying to find Count Vertigo or some shit, and he goes to his connections in the Russian mob, and it's alluded that sometime in the flashbacks he gets all friendly with the Russian mob, and later in season 2 we actually see the guy that he befriends in the Russian mafia. See, that's the right way to do flashbacks. See how it wasn't like directly paralleling? Like it wasn't like in the season 1 episode he's dealing with the Russian mob. Okay, in the flashback he's dealing with the Russian mob. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not exactly like parallel what's going on in the flashbacks with what the what's happening in present day, so it actually seems more organic. It's not, super easy fucking writing. But, anyway, season 1, they're kind of just making up things as they went along, and they even admitted it wasn't episode 12 or 13, I think, of season 1 that they kind of hit their stride, and they kind of had a pretty good idea of what they wanted to do with the flashbacks, and how to intercut them with the, what's going on in present day and the transitions and things. And one of the things too they were kind of just making up as they went along. In the pilot, you actually see Deathstroke's mask with an arrow through it, and there's just a brief shot of it. That wasn't even planned. Like, they didn't even plan to have Deathstroke there in the flashbacks originally. But it was just some idea that Jeff Johns had, and he just kind of threw it out there. And then they just ran with it, and they actually did something pretty fucking cool with it. And speaking of Deathstroke, right, I've talked about this earlier. It really would have benefited if they had him there from season 1 all the way till season 5, when this 5-year origin was gonna wrap up supposedly, and he was gonna fully become Green Arrow in the present day. What they could have done is, like I said earlier, really build it up for 5 years and still play it like you did in season 2. But how much more cooler would have been if you waited the whole 5 years to do that, to do that reveal. Because in season 2, when they do that reveal, with Slade being the villain, and I've talked about how like they kind of did a fake out where they had these other villains, without calling attention to it, they had these other villains popping up, and you're thinking in your mind, because it's this kind of show, every season has like a big bad, that term that Joss Whedon made famous with Buffy and Angel and things. Every season has to have a big bad that you would think it was present day, because they never did something like that. And that's another thing. They would have to have the discipline to not have characters from the flashbacks show up in the present day for like 4 seasons. Wait until that season to do it. So it's not even in your mind that would have been a possibility. You're not even thinking of that. But when they reveal that it's Slade, it's mind blowing. And even in season 2, when they revealed that it was Slade, who is the guy who was working with Brother Blood and created Solomon Grundy and all that shit, that blew my mind. I thought that was just awesome. It was epic. And now looking back at it, it's not that big of a deal, but at the time, it was awesome. Now, I really do think that scene was probably the best scene of that show. I really do think that. And I think that if they spent not just, well, I mean, even like Slade, he didn't show up in the flashbacks through like midway through season 1. So really, and it wasn't the Slade reveal in the present day wasn't until midway through season 2, so it was really just really just a season of build up. But if they built up that character for roughly 5 years or however long, right? I guess it would be like 4 because it would be mid-season 1 to like mid-season 5. If they took their time and really built that up, that reveal would have been the most epic fucking scene ever in a superhero show. It would have been fucking a tall order to ever beat that scene. That's how much better it would have made it. The benefit of time and build-up of that storyline. I mean, really, I know we're getting these onslaught of superhero shows coming up, particularly DC superhero shows, but I think if you did that scene right, and you did that Deathstroke Green Arrow relationship correctly, this Arrow would have gone down as one of the best superhero shows ever, probably for years to come. It would have been. I really do think that scene is so important to this show. Like, I really do think the whole storyline with Slade and versus Green Arrow, Deathstroke versus Green Arrow, I really do think that was the writers' best idea they ever had for this show. I really do think it's the best storyline, and I really do think they're just out of good ideas now, and that's what a lot of the problem with season 3 was. And again, they could not top that. That's why they should have saved it. They should have saved it for the end. Why'd you guys like blow your wad early? I don't like that terminology, but it's proper terminology there. Why did you guys do that? So anyway, so one of the complaints to how I would have handled their relationship differently, so is that like in season 2, the whole thing with like Slade hating Oliver, it's not very like why he hates him and everything. It's not really explained very well. Like, he gets injected with Mirakuru, and Mirakuru, it has a side effect of making you mentally unstable and crazy and shit. It's never really explained. Does Slade hate Oliver because he's fucked up on Mirakuru, or does he hate Oliver because Ivo put okay, so explain this quick. If you didn't see the show. There's this villain on the island, his name's Dr. Ivo. For no reason at all, no good reason at all, he does the sadistic choice thing, and there's Shadow there and Sarah's there. And if you don't know what the sadistic choice thing is, if you've seen Spider-Man, Green Goblin does it at the climax of the film with, he makes Spider-Man choose between Mary Jane, the civilians, or, Batman Forever, where he makes, I believe it's Robin? Two-Face makes Batman choose between, I think it's Robin and his love interest or some bullshit, or something like that. And he has to choose between the two. And, in those cases, it doesn't matter what choice he makes, because in the end he saves, both parties, right? Okay, and Arrow was different. So Oliver chooses Sarah, Shadow dies. Slade was flirting with Shadow because, it's CW, we gotta have a bullshit love triangle, right? And, so not only is Slade fucked up on Mirakuru, but he also, because he's demented or something, Oliver made this choice, he chose Sarah over Shadow, now he hates Oliver. And, okay, but the thing is, it's like, okay, well, I mean, what Oliver did was wrong, I guess, but, really, it was Ivo who pulled the trigger, like, how much can you really blame Oliver? And then, of course, there was really no reason for Ivo to have to kill one of them. Like, he just arbitrarily, he's just like, oh, Oliver, you have to choose who lives and who dies. Like, what?